We'll get started with Joel.
Hey, Coach, thanks again for the time. So Tallis Magno has 3 goal involvements in the last 2 games against Orlando City. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective, how much discussion is had ahead of time with people maybe in your analytics department about player performances ahead of, like, against certain teams? And how much stock do you take into some of those performances when it comes to choosing a starting 11?
We get all the... I'm really lucky that I have a really good performance analysis department. We have a really good data science department at CFG, and we have our own guy here within the facility. So they provide me with all of the reports and all of the information based on, all of the opposition that we play, based on our previous performances. So I get all of the information, and as a coaching team, as a coaching staff, we'll consistently discuss that. Individual matchups, team matchups, systems. It all goes into consideration when we select a team and a game plan to go and play against a certain opposition.
Trey?
Hey, Coach, just wondering if you could give an update on the status of Keaton Parks after it seemed like a nasty fall in the last match.
I said after the game, he used the facility within Yankee Stadium. It was the X-ray was clear. He went for MRI scan. It is not as worse as we thought, but it's going to be an ongoing one. It's going to be a pain tolerance. It's an ankle sprain. I think we were happy with the fact that it wasn't high ankle sprain, which means that this is probably the most aggressive form of ankle injury. It wasn't that, so it's going to be on pain tolerance and how quick the medical guys can work within their department with Keaton. He's outside today. He's in good spirits. He wasn't on the grass, but he was outside with the training shoes on, just doing some small exercises, getting it moving.
Oliver?
Hi, thank you. Munsef has provided the team with an element in the attack that they've been missing. He's making really smart runs, but he also seems to be handled by the more physical center backs that you see in MLS. In the game over the weekend, there's a lot of grappling, a lot of arms inside of arms and pushing him around. How do you acclimate him to MLS and the physical style of play so that he's able to handle those kinds of defenses?
Yeah, I think we physically there's a plan for Munsef. I think when you bring a guy from the Croatian league and we see the potential that he has, and we see the potential number 9 that he can be. Of course, you take away the things that we believe that he is really good at, and we try and reinforce that really quickly. And then we try and look at the areas that he needs to improve, and we work at that. There's a physical plan for him. Within that, we try and show him as much as possible of MLS. He has all of the matchups that he's going to come up against. We knew that Sean Nealis was not going to be within the game, but we knew that they would probably go with Reyes and Ndam, so he knew it was going to be physical. I think there's an element of Munsef's game with him being, high potential, is that he's going to have to learn to adapt his game to MLS. You can see naturally his first thought is to run in behind. His first thought is to try and get in behind, which I totally agree has brought us, the reason we brought him here is because we knew that's what we needed for the team, and he has brought that dimension. But I think there's moments where he's got to come and pin the central defender and come and play in front so he can set the ball, because, teams are going to try and stop him from getting in behind. I think the goal against Montreal is a good example of what he can do. And he had a few of those looks in the game against Red Bull from that Bert Reisa pass that is going to be really effective for us. But I think for us, it's, we know it's going to take him a little bit of time. We don't have the time, so we have to try and accelerate that process. And I think the one thing that really enthuses me is that his work ethic and his attitude and his desire to improve is real high level.
Chris Campbell?
Hey, Coach. With Maxi out and now Keaton's status likely out, how do you look to replace that progression in the midfield? Is it asking a player in that position to do more than they have in the past, or is it going to be maybe looking to play through wings more?
We had this discussion this morning as a coaching team. I think we know that somebody like Justin Haak is probably a little bit unfortunate to not be in the squad. I think, we are probably stacked in that area with Andres Pereira, with Keaton Parks, with James Sands, with Alfredo Morelos, and Justin Haak, and you can only name 9 subs. So automatically he comes in as a midfield replacement. But I think the discussion is around if we want to be more offensive and if we want to try and get more forward-thinking, attacking players in there. You know, we potentially look at the likes of Richie Ledesma, who has played in that position for us. Do we move Santi back inside and play Santi in the 10, which opens up the side for a Thales Magno, for an Andres Yassin, for Julian Fernandez, Alonso Martinez? And I've spoken a lot about him and tried to give clarity around his situation because I know fans want to see him. But I think the balance is around the opposition. I think you see us go with 3 midfield players against Red Bull because we knew the direct nature of their style and how first and second balls were going to be critical in the game. I think this is going to be more of a football game. So, you know, do we go with a more number 10 profile, which gets us an extra attacking player on the field?
Andrew?
Hi, Coach. Thank you for taking the time. It looked like you guys were playing kind of a more direct style against the Red Bulls than you usually do. Was that just a reaction to the opponent you were facing, or is that something you guys are trying to do to help Munsef Bakrar in particular? Because you've mentioned like Burke Reese's long passing towards him as a thing that you guys can unlock more of. So is that like a stylistic shift that you guys are trying to make with Bakrar as your new sort of like striker that you play most frequently, or was that more of just a reaction to the game Saturday?
I think ultimately it's natural. We don't want to be a team that is predictable. We want to play a possession-based style, but you know, you can see that the easiest route to goal is to give the ball to your number 9, and the goal against Montreal is a really good example of that. And without becoming predictable and just going back to front, like many teams in our league, we want to be a team that can attack from, you know, every situation in the game. We want to play attacking football, and it's been difficult because of the profile of players that we have, and that's not against anybody. You know, we have a lot of players that want to play with the ball at their feet and they want to combine, and that's gave us a really good high possession style that's meant that we've controlled opponents. But Munsef gives us that different dimension now. So, you know, it's the same challenge. We have to find the balance in playing and making the right decisions in the right moments. I think there is an element of when you play against Red Bull with their high pressing style, in a high charge and emotion game, that means that you take a little bit of the risk out. But I mean, you know, if we can get Munsef in on goal, we want to get him in from wherever we are, whether it be in low moments or whether it be in and around the edge of the box.
Michael?
Nick, thanks so much for the time. We've talked in the past about the mentality of the club is you know, obviously trying to win as many games as possible, but also staying true to your identity and the process. I think that's one of the words you've used in the past. Just curious, as we get to you're really needing every point out of these next 5, and it's not like you didn't need any point out of the last 3, but needing every point as possible. Do you start to move away from that process and get just a little more, hey, whatever's going to work, let's get the 3 points. We have to be a little more practical than pragmatic.
Yeah, of course. I think you have to your process when it's defined, and when you've done so much good work on trying to get a new group blended together and understanding how each other play. When you have such change, the process is the only thing that is going to direct you in a way where everybody is on the same page. And I'm pleased with that. But I understand that when you get into a place where you need points, you have to. Ultimately, every game is like a playoff game. And in every playoff game that I've been involved in, there is zero process to it. It is which team wants to win the most and who is going to fight the hardest to make sure that they get the points out of the game. They get the win. And I was really pleased with the fight and the desire. I thought the 2 central defenders defended direct balls really well. I didn't think we picked up second balls well enough in the first 15 minutes of the game, but I thought we did after that. We made a slight tactical change, which helped us. And I think we were the team that was pushing the game at the end to try and win it. So I think every game is going to have a playoff feel to it for us, and it should do, because every point and every win is critical. So although the process will give us a solid base to work off, for sure that we will be as practical as possible to make sure that we can win as many points and just take one game as it goes. That's all you can do in playoff football, and we're in a situation now where we're playing playoff football.
Final one, Christian.
Hi, Coach. Orlando had a pretty entertaining game at the weekend against Columbus. What are you anticipating them bringing to Citi Field on Wednesday?
I think they've always been a good team. I think from the years that I've been here, from 2020 onwards, they've always, under Oscar, been a good team that plays good football, that is well coached. They have a really defined system and shape in the way that they play. Two midfield players that are, this year, really, really fluid in the way that they play football, which allows them to get their front three, front four into the game. And they have a number 9 in Maguire, and now, you know, Enrique, that's scoring goals for them. So a dangerous team. And I think what they've got going for them at the moment is they have real confidence. The last minute winner at Columbus and coming from 3-1 down, it always breeds confidence in your team and that you can find a way to win. But, you know, for us, it's whoever we play. The opposition to us now, of course, we take the opposition into account. But for us, it's all about us. It's all about how we win football games. And I've said before, this is playoff football now for us. And you never know who you're going to get in the playoffs. And ultimately, form doesn't matter when you get in there. And we've been really, really good in past 2 years at playing playoff football. So as a staff and as a football club, we know how to play this way. And I think we know we haven't won games. But over the last 3, we also haven't lost games. And if we can just find that extra way, that real next step in making sure that we find a way to win when we're at 1-1 or when we're at 0-0, that is how we get over the line. And we spoke extensively about that today as a group. And when I go into the locker room and I look around the group after a 0-0, a disappointing 0-0 for us against Red Bull, I still see desire and fight, and I still see the real passion and the real the fire within each guy that we can continue to push. You know, we're lucky. The league didn't change. We still sit in the same place. So we got to keep fighting.